What do you do when Western medicine fails in treating your aches and pains? These days, many people are turning to an alternative Oriental treatment called acupuncture. Good morning and welcome to KCK World News. I'm Kelly Hickey.
I'm Caroline Caldwell. And I'm Katie Judge. And we're investigating acupuncture. While this practice has been around for many years, it has recently experienced a new wave in popularity. Despite the fact that there are different beliefs about how the treatment came about, it is clear that it has been a part of Chinese culture for a very long time. It originated in China approximately 3,000 years ago. There are differing beliefs about the cultural aspects of the origins of acupuncture. Some people believe it was discovered on the battlefields. When soldiers were hit with arrows during battle, they were cured of medical conditions that had not been treated. Others believe that acupuncture dates back to the Stone Age.
The way it works is that needles are inserted into the skin at acupuncture points that correspond to different parts of your body. This is done to direct energy flow, or qi, to that area. What's great about these points is that if the area being treated is experiencing pain, a needle can be put in somewhere completely different to alleviate that pain.
Since we're focusing specifically on headaches and backaches as a part of the neurological and acute and chronic pain systems in the Western medical field, a doctor would likely treat it with pain relief medication like ibuprofen. The way ibuprofen works is by blocking the arachidonic pathway, a pain pathway, which would stop you from feeling pain. It blocks a substance in the body called cycloogenase, which then blocks the production of prostaglandins. Prostaglandins are important chemicals involved in pain, inflammation, and temperature control. They allow you to feel what the nerve endings that transmit pain are telling you.
Those treated using Western medicine seem not to be benefiting from long-term pain relief. Acupuncture, however, is considered to be pretty efficient and painless. Alternative methods include acupressure, where pressure is applied to the acupuncture points with the hands, elbows, or other devices. Sonopuncture, which uses musical instruments to send sound vibrations into the acupuncture points, and piezoelectric acupuncture stimulators, which consist of a device containing quartz crystals that create an electric charge when rubbed together that is used to stimulate the acupuncture points.
We sat down with expert acupuncturist Mei Song CA from Larchmont Acupuncture to find out more.
I'll ask you again. How long have you been a licensed acupuncturist?
7 years.
Okay. So you studied science, did you also study like Eastern philosophy and medicine?
Not philosophy per se,
Yeah.
but it's definitely medicine. Our curriculum, you can sort of divide it into two parts. One is Western. Mm-hmm. So besides the basic science, we take anatomy with cadaver, dissections. Mm-hmm. That's our school. Not all schools do that. So anatomy, physiology, pathology, maybe neuroscience, or and some physics, and then the Eastern, the Chinese medical science, would be acupuncture, and the acupuncture will include the theory and the point locations. Mm-hmm. First we spend a year just to learn which meridian is from where to where, and then learn the energetics of each point, like what each point do. Because points are points, but when do you use these points? So that's another course, is to learn diseases and how to use those acupuncture points to help with the diseases.
Okay, so how would you compare Eastern and Western medicine?
Okay, so yes, they're very, very different in the way we see the body. Western medicine tends to be more fragmented. Like if you have headache, you go to a headache specialist and maybe a neurologist. But in Chinese medicine, when you have a headache, they look at your head. We want to know where your head hurts, when does it hurt, what makes it better, what makes it worse. But we also want to know about the whole body. Mm-hmm. We ask about if you have pain in your stomach, if you have regular bowel movement, how's your menstruation, do you have pain in your knees, or everything.
So you look at it as a whole system.
Right. So we keep looking at the connections between parts of the body, and so eventually, as a practitioner, we are able to link and see what the real connections are, and therefore we treat. So to treat the headache, we have to treat the stomach as well.
Mm-hmm. So how effective would you say acupuncture is in treating these different ailments?
So acupuncture, it's effective, but it's really hard to say. Some people respond better than others, and certain conditions, respond better than others. So acupuncture being an energetic medicine, because we don't cut into your skin, take out the tumor or things like that. It's really just about using the needles to help the energy move better. So it tends to take time.
Yeah.
Take many sessions and take time for the condition to change. Acupuncture is very good for helping with these functional problems. But in terms of things that already develop into structure, for example, if you have ulcer already, that's a structural problem. Acupuncture still can help, but it just takes longer.
Okay, so would you say acupuncture is for people who have tried Western medicine, they've taken the drugs, and it hasn't worked? So in terms of who it's for, that's...
Okay. Yeah, see, how it's practiced in America, it's different from, say, China or Taiwan, where I'm from, where Chinese medicine is a common part of our culture. So it's not foreign. So in general, if say a young woman with a lot of menstruation problems, parents would just say, oh, just go to a Chinese herbalist. Try that first. And then and then maybe that will be enough. But a Western, in America, it's more about you go to your gynecologist, you try hormones, pills, whatever first. And then it's still not working, then maybe we will try acupuncture. And partly because one is that it's not in the culture here, and second is the insurance coverage. And acupuncture and Chinese medicine is very, very good as a preventive. For example, you have frequent stomach pain, but when you go to a doctor, you may not even say it. You feel, oh, that's nothing, it goes away, or I take a Tom, it goes away. But as a practitioner, all this information and also plus what I feel from the energy, then I may start treating that before any Western doctor would say that's a problem. I'll give you some medicine. So we can detect things earlier and get it treated, correct it before it evolves into something much deeper and more severe.
Okay, so would you say it's good for long-term use?
Yes, in general, some people use it for just for like a tune-up, even if they don't have anything wrong with them. But always there's we're not perfect and we fluctuate. So there's always something acupuncture can help to get the energy more balanced.
So when you put the needle in, how does it work on a scientific level?
Okay, that's a very good question, and the answer is still not clear. It's obviously scientists want to know what's going on when is there really meridians? Are there really acupuncture points? Are they significant? So there's different areas of scientists, they try to figure that out. So there have been a lot of studies done using, for example, functional MRI to see, using dye, like a radioactive dye, they inject it to see if that flows, all sorts. But there seem to be some, findings. For example, there was a study done using the dye that I just mentioned, and then they see how the dye moves with a trajectory very similar to what the charts would be. And that movement isn't corresponding to, say, the blood flow or the lymphatic flow or any other flow that science, Western science know. So it's like, oh, that's strange. So there are all these hypotheses and a very, good hypothesis, but nothing has been definitively say, oh, this is it.
So if a patient came to you, and we're focusing specifically on headaches and backaches, you would ask them a bunch of questions, not specifically, not just about that.
That's right.
Just to see how it works.
Even in our books from hundreds, thousands of years ago, already stating the 10 questions you must ask. 10 questions, including if you have abdominal pain, if you feel warm or cold, how's your sleep, how's your this and that. How do you sweat a lot? Do you feel thirsty much? How's your bowel movement? Those are just like a guideline, but there's a lot more than 10 that usually be asked.
Okay.
So yeah, so we need to get a general picture of the whole person because these are information they provide to you. So the information comes from people tell you to gather information. So and therefore the treatment is very individual. So basically, you come in and I want to come up with a pattern. Mm-hmm. So for example, a person with menstruation pain. 10 people with menstruation pain, their treatment might be all different because their cause, the pattern that leads to the symptom is different. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, the treatment, the points are different.
But you would say that there's definitely a place for this in our culture here?
Oh, yes. I think it's getting bigger and bigger. And insurance is going to cover more, too, because people's demanding more. And besides, they will know it eventually save insurance company money. Because if we can help with take care of the problem before it becomes so big and needs surgery, and surgery costs so much, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of time and legislation, things like that. Yeah. But it is a very effective, and it is recognized as a medical procedure in America. It just needs to be more available to people.
Okay. Are there any negative side effects of acupuncture?
Acupuncture is very, very safe. The only potential side effect is bruising at the side of the needle because you're putting needles in. And then there are other things that could happen, but it's not necessarily a side effect. If people are prone to dizzy or blacking out, they may get stimulated too much and they may feel dizzy. If they come for pain, the pain may get a little worse for a day, or maybe not even a day, a few hours, and then they get much better.
Okay.
So that's sort of a healing crisis thing that, but it's every person is a challenge because every person is different. We never know, how they're going to react to it, So oftentimes is that, yes, acupuncture can treat many, many different problems because it was the medicine developed for many, many, many problems, right? However, how this individual would benefit from it, we don't know until you try, really. Mm-hmm.
Caroline and Katie had the opportunity to get acupuncture. The reason we decided to focus specifically on headaches and backaches is because Caroline suffers from headaches and Katie suffers from lower backaches. So, Caroline, how well would you say the practice worked?
I think it worked pretty well. The day after, I had a little bit of a headache, but I haven't had another one since.
Katie?
I still am suffering from a little bit backache, but throughout the day my back hasn't been bothering me nearly as much, which I think is good. There definitely has been a slight improvement.
That's great. So let's talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses of acupuncture. What would you choose to say the strengths are? Clearly, it's a less invasive process than surgery or one of the more drastic measures you would have to take in Western medicine.
I think it's definitely not as painful as people think it is. You can't even feel the little needles going in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it is very relaxing almost. I wouldn't think of it as something that I would dread. It's almost I don't know, it wasn't bad.
And it's a
really
natural treatment
process. Yeah, it's natural.
And what are some of the weaknesses?
It's really expensive.
And it's not covered by most insurances.
Yeah, and when we visited the acupuncturist, she talked about the insurance and mentioned how because acupuncture is becoming more and more popular, how insurances are more likely to start covering acupuncture, which I think is really good considering how much attention acupuncture has been receiving lately.
Absolutely. So what are some of the strengths of Western medicine? It's definitely, I would say, more effective, as far as how fast it works. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And how we said, acupuncture is expensive. Western medicine tends to be less expensive because it is covered by insurance.
Yeah, if you're taking a pain reliever, you can just buy that at the store. It's
So.
expensive.
Yeah, exactly. I think taking an aspirin is more convenient than going all the way to a special doctor and having this process done to you.
Definitely.
Especially if acupuncture is like a 90-minute process,
Mhm.
roughly 90 minutes. Whereas you take
Yeah.
you take an aspirin and then your headache or backache goes away like relatively quickly.
Yeah. Some of the weaknesses of Western medicine would be that it can be harsh on the body if you're taking those drugs over a long period of time. It can be harmful.
Yeah, and also I think that it doesn't address the long-term problems, whereas with my lower backache, I noticed after like one acupuncture, it went away. It made a difference,
Mhm.
whereas I would have to keep taking one aspirin every single day.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it definitely addresses long-term pain instead of immediate short-term pain.
Would you recommend this practice to someone else?
Yeah, I definitely would. It's like a different thing, like I don't know.
And you guys already did it, but you would do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could afford it.
Do you think there's a place for acupuncture in Western medicine?
Yeah, I definitely think it's becoming way more popular and it's just like completely just a different process and it's like gives people a different option.
Yeah, it's a great alternative to some of the Western medicines.
I think that there is a place for it, but the biggest issue would be money. So unless insurance companies do something about the cost, I know like a lot of families are not going to want to bring like their 5-year-old son to get acupuncture when he has a headache. So unless it either becomes like cheaper or more convenient, I guess you could say, then I could definitely see a place for it in Western society. But other than that, I think that it just makes more sense to stick to like an aspirin opposed to this.
Those are some great answers. Thank you.
We hope we gave you some new insight into this alternative medical technique on the rise.
Thank you for tuning in to KCK World News.
Have a good day. You should be like, what do you do when Western medicine fails in
Yeah, give it like really
use
use emotion.
Yeah. You have to like believe in what you're saying. You can't be like,
Believe you are a newscaster. We are not in my bedroom.
welcome.
Get yourselves together.
Okay, just go.
Ready? I feel like I'm gonna burp. Hold on.
Don't be like May song.
I missed church for this.
I miss church for this.
Let's fan ourselves. I'm out of breath again.
I need some acupuncture. Let's get it together, ladies.
I'm
And you're this is the way I can't.
Who's singing